Okay, it's recording. So, okay, Lorenzo, great to see you.
Yeah.
So looking forward to hear more about what you are building at Science Machine, but maybe first we can do a short round of introductions. So I'm Andre, head of the investment committee at Zaka VC. We are a small pre-seed and seed oriented fund based in Prague, investing all across Europe and the US, mostly in the nowadays deep tech, health and life sciences, and industrial tech sector, with a smaller co-investment tickets of around 200 to 300k euros. So as we have done also a couple of biotech investments, more in the biotech, not so many tech bio. This seems to be interesting. So happy to dig a bit deeper, but let's start with the intro to yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So myself is not going to be a surprise. I'm Italian, given the name and the accent, but came to London to do computer science at university. So I'm a software engineer myself. And then basically I did neuroscience at Imperial College and started my first company through Entrepreneur First, straight after that. Joined with the idea of building something in biotech. Then because of how the program works, ended up doing something completely different. And so for the past 3 years, 3.5, I built something in B2B SaaS, building an HR tech solution for small businesses. Went through Y Combinator, raised some seed funding, scaled it up to more than 700 businesses in London that have been using it. But earlier this year, decided to take a step back from that company to go back to the original idea of building something in the life sciences. And so did that. We hired one of our investors to come into my place at my previous company. And so now they are taking it forward. And myself, I've been diving super deep into this space with AI and data. There's so much going on. And in that process, I also met my co-founder, Ben, who's a biologist turned machine learning engineer. He knows everything about the intersection of those two spaces. He's been a benevolent AI for 2-3 years, building tools for scientists there. And now for the past 2-3 months, we've been building ScienceMachine.
Okay, so you both have some background in this space. Is this the first venture you are building with Benjamin, your CTO?
Yes, that's exactly right. So we met earlier this year and literally spent the first month just validating the co-founder relationship, just getting to know each other, spending a lot of time together, talking about the hard questions, and came out of it. And we were like, we need to do something together.
Okay, and what came first? The good relationship, some synergy between you, and then the idea was found after a couple of iterations, or you came into the relationship with this idea and validated it as well?
So we had the general feeling for the idea because Ben is something that he experienced at Benevolent AI as well, but we didn't have a very refined solution. It was more like we knew there was a problem, and it's more about, validating the relationship, but at the same time thinking about potential solutions. And so basically those happen at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's dig deeper into the problem. So data analysis in tech bio or biotech. So can you somehow summarize what is currently missing in the space? What are you trying to cover?
Yeah, 100%. So data is becoming increasingly important, but increasingly complex in this space, in the biomedical research space. And the scientists in the lab, they don't have the coding statistical skills to actually leverage this data to make sense of it. And they always have to rely on someone else that has those skills, like a bioinformatician or a data scientist. And basically they send them the data, they come back in a few weeks or in a week, and then maybe they have to go back with some more questions. So this whole process lasts weeks or months for about 90% of the scientists we spoke to.
Mm-hmm. And you are trying to, as I saw in the deck, to make this 100x faster, potentially therefore also cheaper. But my question would be, with this new approach, are you an addition to the software stack they are using, or you are trying to completely replace the software stack with something on your own?
Yeah, so the current software stack is mainly tailored for the bioinformaticians, for those technical people that know all the terminology, all the coding skills as well. but there's really not that much for the scientists that allows them to do this by themselves. So something simple, intuitive, that basically lets the AI actually do all the hard work, and that's what we do. And so basically, instead of building something for bioinformaticians, we give the scientists the skills to do this.
And what kind of complexity do you need to cover? Because there is probably some stuff which requires specific skill set and also coding skills. There is some stuff which might be somehow on a lower technical level. So what's the scope which you can cover with your approach?
So we're starting from more simple questions that the scientists can ask about their data. For example, we start with this type of data that is called RNA-seq, sort of gene sequencing data, basically. And they can ask some simple question, for example, what's the gene expression of a particular gene? But then the idea is to really expand to all those more complex, advanced tasks that a bioinformatician does. So really about building those advanced data pipelines from structuring, analyzing, visualizing the data that a human does right now.
Okay. And what's the level of validation, or where are you? Let's maybe start with the status of the product. Yeah. So where are you right now? Do you have some working MVP which can be validated, or you are still only in the, let's say, customer interaction phase and discovery phase?
For sure. I should say we're super early, again, like 2-3 months old company, but we already have a prototype. We have a first version of the product that we are validating with some biotech design partners. So basically, we help them with data analysis, and they give us feedback on the tool.
Okay. And what is the current level of validation or the feedbacks you have, and what's also the typical type of customer you are speaking to? Is it like early stage biotech or a later stage biotech or bigger pharma company? What type of employees are you speaking to, and so on?
Yeah, so we target biotech companies. So that would be mid-sized biotech companies. And the reason is because, one, we have a great network of founders in that space that we can sell into. And secondly, the sales cycle is much more shorter compared to pharma companies. And so we sell to those organizations. And actually, we speak with the scientists first. We get them excited about the product, and they introduce us to the decision maker, maybe the founder or a CSO. And then they make the buying decision, and the scientist is the internal champion in that organization, basically. And so that's the sort of vertical we focus on.
Mm-hmm. And do you have somebody who is already willing to, let's say, start with a paying pilot, or how much time do you need to get the product in a more developed state for that?
Yeah, so the current prototype is very limited. And so instead of having people to pay for it, they dedicate a lot of their time, which we really appreciate. But the idea is to turn this into customers, right? To turn these from partners into customers. And that's something that we want to do as soon as possible, probably in the next few weeks.
Mm-hmm. When I was looking through the deck of the competition, you have, let's say, different axes. You have on the right side the easiness of interacting, let's say, with the data or finding some insights. On the left hand, you have the complex coding required to use that type of software. So what's the size of the nearest competition in terms maybe of revenue or valuation, and how do you see the size of the potential market as well? Because you are somehow opening up the market to new users, turning scientists into data scientists, let's say,
That's right.
or data analysts. So how are you thinking about the size of this market, and are you also thinking about expanding this somewhere further into a different type of user base or problem you are trying to solve?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we know there's 2.5 million life scientists worldwide, And at the current very conservative price point, that's already a 7.5 billion opportunity for this initial tool alone. But then, as you were saying, there's so many different inefficient and manual tasks that are still done in the biomedical research pipeline that we can tackle next. And so starting from data analysis, but once you know the results of this analysis, you can design new experiments, right? And so that's another task that we can expand on. So we really see these as a sort of initial wedge to start from. And then in terms of the competition, there's some small startups that are now, figuring out there's an opportunity, let's pivot, let's go into this space as well. So we're seeing some startups moving, but really there's no big incumbent. The nearest incumbent would be Dotmatics. This is a sort of old school data analysis company. They do dashboards for data analysis, but those are very simple. You can't do anything too advanced on those tools, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In terms of the fundraising, so you're raising $500,000. This is probably your first round, right? There was no angel round before. Where are you in the process right now? When do you want to close it? How does the dynamic look like, and so on?
Yeah, so we're raising 500K, sort of initial angel round, first checks in. It's going super well. We have almost closed it. We are about 450K out of 500. And so in the next few days after Focal Demo Day, we're going to close it very soon.
And it's a Delaware-based company or UK-based company? What is it?
It's a Delaware C Corp, and we're raising on a safe note.
All right. Good. So that's probably all what I wanted to ask. So glad to hear that 90% of the round is already closed, and you will just, finish it off this week. Basically now during the Focal Demo Day. So good luck with building the new basically data analysis stack for biotech companies, and thank you for the discussion.
Thank you very much, Andrei. Really appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.